to quote the great philosopher T. Swift, we figured you out. We all know now. We all got crowns.
I just love that quote. And I love T. Swift. But I just think that, it's only now really that women, I feel like, can have these conversations. Like, nobody was talking about menopause 10 years ago. And, I like to blame most things on the patriarchy.
Go, girl.
So I just find it ironic, that there was no problem getting money for studies for a man's hard-on. But little research funds for the suffering of literally half the population for a third of their lives.
I am so there for blaming the patriarchy. I mean, I feel like they have a 2,000-year head start on us. So pretty much all is fair in love and war. So I'm here for that.
Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship. Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Hello, fabulous Drinks with the Girls listeners. We are so excited to be here for another episode. And this is one of those episodes where it may not be fun to talk about, but it is super important for us and for you because no one's getting out alive. And that is perimenopause and menopause. Now, let's just start out at the front saying we are not doctors and this is not medical advice.
Please don't sue us.
Any question.
Please don't sue us.
We are simply two of your besties bringing you in on the conversation that honestly, up until several years ago, women just were not having. And so I'm glad that we're finally starting to hear more about menopause and perimenopause and find out the best tactics to navigate this wild time in life. So Lisa, before we dive in, what are you drinking?
Yes, I feel that this is a topic that needs to be chased with a cocktail for sure. I'm a little fancy today. I was kind of bored, but then I just didn't have time to make up kind of something fancy. So I just threw shizzle in a glass. And so I've got it's a raspberry peach seltzer, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. I just poured it in the can and it looked sad. So I put some ice in it. And then I was like, you still look sad. So I put some juice in there and that looks still sad. So I went, pineapple rum. It's happy drink now. So I just threw a bunch of crap in there. And
that's like something you drink in college.
And that was kind of my space. I was like, what do I have that I can just throw in here that would be cool and refreshing to talk about menopause? So I'm going to call it the menopause tonic.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We can market it. Do you want to know what I'm drinking?
I'm more than anything in the world.
Well, I am really spoiled because this week my adult daughter is home and I told her, I was like, hey, I have to record this episode and I needed a fun drink. So she was my bartender. So she crafted me a homemade Paloma.
Ooh, what's that?
Homemade, really? It's drink with tequila and fresh grapefruit juice with a little agave and soda water because I don't really like the taste of tequila, so I got to water it down a little bit. And then squeeze of lime with a tahini rim.
Dude, I'm so anything with the tahini rim, count me in. I'm obsessed with that condiment. It is the best thing ever.
For sure.
Okay, I had never heard of that drink, and I feel like my education has been lacking. So recipe to follow in the show notes.
There you go. So friend, where are you on your menopause journey?
I feel like I need to sing a Barbara Streisand song right now. I don't know why. But so this topic really fires me up because I feel like women have been told that this is when their health and quality of life start going permanently downhill and there's nothing they can do about that. So right there, right? We all know how well I respond when somebody tells me I can't do something. So that's there, right? But for me,
how dare you thrive?
Right? It's like, come on, really? So For me, honestly, the initial issues were lack of sleep and changes in my metabolism. I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's common-ish, so probably quite a few people are familiar with it, but long story short, it can impact fertility rates and metabolism. I'm way oversimplifying it, but that's the basic top hits. And I had some severe issues and gained a ton of weight. And so I started to do some research and I found out there was not a lot out there, which also horrified me. And I realized, bottom line, women have just kind of accepted that horrible menopause side effects are inevitable. And so that ticked me off further. And there's just not a lot of research out there from what I can tell. And so what I did is I did my own research and I started to ask my network, and I found out there's kind of a revolution starting with our generation. There's a lot of women out there that feel that way and are starting to really demand answers and not just kind of accept it as inevitable. And we've uncovered a lot. So to quote the great philosopher T. Swift, we figured you out. We all know now. We all got crowns.
I just love that quote. And I love T. Swift. But I just think that, it's only now really that women, I feel like, can have these conversations. Like, nobody was talking about menopause 10 years ago. And, I like to blame most things on the patriarchy.
Go, girl.
So I just find it ironic, that there was no problem getting money for studies for a man's hard-on. But little research funds for the suffering of literally half the population for a third of their lives.
I am so there for blaming the patriarchy. I mean, I feel like they have a 2,000-year head start on us. So pretty much all is fair in love and war. So I'm here for that.
For sure. So I am firmly in the trenches of menopause. Thank you for asking.
So sorry. Where are you on your journey with menopause, Karen? I felt like that was kind of the overall subject, but if you'd like an invitation, I'm here for you.
I just like being a smartass.
And
I actually haven't
friends.
I know. I haven't had a period in over a year, which has been glorious. Whoops. Up until then, not so much. I had the period that would be MIA for 4 months and then show up and want to stay for 20 days, or the surprise spotting that happened for 5 days straight. I really don't miss that. But with the loss of estrogen, I've noticed my hair thinning and changing texture, my itchy skin, joint pain, especially my elbows of all places, brain fog, and of course, the pooch around my middle. And then, of course, the typical hot flashes, night sweats, loss of sleep. And, I'm happy to say I don't necessarily have a lower libido. Like, I'm easy to get warmed up, but I really don't make the first move anymore. Like, it's not even on my radar. So maybe my libido is being affected.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's a whole other podcast episode we could talk about, but put a pin in that one, so to speak. So according to the Drinks with Girls research department, we love our research department. These are the most common issues.
They're amazing.
They're incredible. All male, actually.
They're so gorgeous.
Shockingly. Yeah, they're just gorgeous males that sit around and do our bidding all day long. Yeah, so these are the most common issues women deal with in menopause. Number 1, hot flashes and night sweats. I feel like this is an episode of Family Feud, right? Like, what is it that you like hit your buzzer when you guess them? Right? So play
what
along.
Are the top 10?
Play along with us, folks. So hot flashes and night sweats, mood swings, weight gain.
Wait a minute. Do you have number 1? Hot flashes and night sweats?
I don't.
You are the B word. Okay.
I kind of run hot, and I always have. So maybe I do, and I just don't notice it. But I've always been, I need to sleep in cold kind of a gal. So who knows?
Okay.
Where was I in the top hot hell 10?
Oh, I don't know. I just focused on number 1.
She couldn't get past that. Okay.
Just go with number 2.
Okay. Mood swings. I mean, I guess. I'm going to talk about this later, but I just feel I have an issue with a lot of this stuff because I feel like it's kind of been thrown in this menopause bucket, and I'm not 1000% convinced it's just menopause, right? But let me get through these, and then we can like rip them apart.
I have to tell you though, I've never wanted to kill people more than I have like in the past 5 years.
For me, that started earlier, so
okay.
I don't know that I I can blame it on menopause. I can be honest.
Okay.
Weight gain, sleep disturbances, vaginal dryness, memory problems, changes in libido, bone health, heart health, skin changes. So, what is your score on this particular bingo card from hell, Karen?
I'm a 6 out of 10. How about you?
So, honestly, I'm probably a 4 out of 10. Like I said before, I'm not 100% convinced that some of these issues are solely due to menopause. Again, see previous white male patriarchy medical research rant. But on the other hand, do you know what I just found out? Apparently, the reason that my ears drive me nuts is that you get increased production of earwax in menopause. I honestly feel like like the 7 plagues, right? Like that's maybe the frogs, hot flashes, or the boils, locusts. I don't even know. I just like, I'm sorry, but I'm just really suspect that like 50% of the population, like you get this pile of poop, and you get better looking gray fox, and you might have problems with an erection every once in a while. Like I just don't feel like that's fair, right? Accurate. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. Fair? Definitely not. Right? Who knows? Accurate? Yeah, same. I feel like I pulled the curtain back on the great and powerful Oz when I found out that brain fog and memory issues were part of menopause because I literally thought I was losing my mind. I think mainly the two things that surprised me most is that there are so many different symptoms. And to your point, I mean, are they all really menopause? I don't know. But the other thing that really kind of rocked my world was that losing estrogen has serious health implications as we age. And I was not aware of that. You know, loss of estrogen contributes to osteoporosis, which I think we kind of always knew. Like maybe not that it was related to menopause, but it's getting older. But maybe it is because we're losing estrogen that our bones are getting brittle. We can lose up to 25% of our bone density by age 60. Like that's shocking. But did you know that estrogen protects us from heart attacks and strokes? Like, come to find out, with our declining hormones, we're more at risk for high cholesterol and high blood pressure. And cardiovascular disease is the number one health threat for American women. Like, this shook me.
A big surprise for me was really learning that the key to controlling estrogen was progesterone levels. And that was what needed to be monitored. There was, I think for me, there was such a lot of bad press that came out about overproduction of estrogen in certain cancers, like breast cancer, that we both have in our families. So I think my brain was so focused on that. I wasn't, it's not that I didn't want to hear it, but that wasn't in my brain. I was just focused on that other part of breast cancer. Cause obviously, you know, that's a huge concern for both you and I.
Yeah, absolutely. Like HRT was always the bad thing that you just don't talk about. And it never felt like it was even an option for me. And I'm still doing, research on that. I mean, I think I might be past the point where I need it, but there are definitely health benefits to it. And I know that a lot of women take it and, have good benefit from it.
My name is Lisa Corachella McDowell, and I'm not just a healthy smoothie girl. Check out nextlevellifewithlisa.com, my website and centerpiece for all that I do. Connect with me about my free classes, the fabulous health and wellness products I have, literacy work, special education advocacy, and social media. I try to live my truth and put it all out there authentically. And for a special offer, go to nextlevellifewithlisa.com/podcast for some exclusive goodies for my Drinks with the Girls listeners. See you there.
So, according to our good friend Google, these are the top things that surprise women the most about menopause and perimenopause. And you fabulous Drinks with the Girls listeners, let us know if any of these are a surprise for you. So, kind of what we've talked about, the variability of symptoms. Many women are surprised by how widely symptoms can vary from one person to another with type and intensity. I mean, this was a shock, kind of what I talked about earlier with the health implications, but this was really kind of a shock to me. And I guess I just never realized that so many things in our body can be affected by menopause, like that don't even have to do with our vajayjay or menstruating. That's how in the dark I was.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I'm saying. Look at variability, right? Who decided that every woman goes through all of this inevitably? and that there's very little we can do about it. I call bullshit. I'm sorry.
So, one of the other surprises is the duration of perimenopause. The perimenopausal phase can last several years, often longer than women expect, with symptoms beginning in their 30s or 40s. And for me, I didn't even know perimenopause was a thing when I was in it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I kept waiting and waiting to go through menopause, right? And then I
Yeah.
hit 53 and I asked my OBGYN what was up, right? I've been on birth control for years to control period pain, but I was still not in menopause, which was ridiculous. I mean, 53 for the love. So she took me off the birth control pills, but it was still a good 6 months before I went into menopause, which was supremely annoying.
Another surprise about it is the impact on our mental health, just the hormonal changes that can significantly affect mood and mental clarity, which I certainly experienced, leading to unexpected feelings of anxiety and depression. I mean, and then you add all the midlife transitions and the midlife that we have to go through also at this stage. And it's no wonder someone coined the term midlife crisis.
Yeah, this one is big time suspect to me because I feel like at this point, just life has had an impact on mental health for the love. I mean, sure, I'll lump that in with all of it, but there's just, yeah, it's a lot.
Well, you have life and then you have what's going on biologically. And that's like the perfect shitstorm.
All the things for sure.
Yeah. And then there's the physical changes. So many women are taken aback by changes in body shape, including weight gain and altered fat distribution, particularly around the abdomen.
This was the big ticket issue for me, for sure. And I ended up seeking some medical support about it after I talked to friends of mine, because this was the biggest issue. I ballooned up like 50 pounds post COVID, and I was so freaking frustrated because nothing that I'd done before worked that always had worked, right? And so I began to look for an integrated health provider to talk about HRT and other things. And that was after I talked to a lot of women. So I found someone who was really thorough. She took more blood from me than Dracula takes on a bender. But on the one hand, it confirmed a lot of what I had suspected all along about, for example, potential thyroid issues, my polycystic ovarian syndrome, the issues with my guts, right? She was really knowledgeable. She prescribed progesterone, which was the first kind of HRT piece, and a literal bucket of supplements. Like I would spend hours each week setting up the pills and the regime to make sure I gave it a good try. And I was really dedicated, right? And then when I went back after, I don't know, I think it was like 6 weeks, and we took my, again, blood, my numbers looked better, but it just wasn't making a dent in a lot of the metabolism stuff. And it, honestly, I got to the point where I felt like I was just donating blood. And I was like, I can't keep going and like giving 12 vials of blood every 6 weeks. So I ended up looking for a new GP when mine retired, and I hit the jackpot with this holistic doctor that I really love. Both my husband and I see him. He's got a nurse practitioner on staff that specializes in women's health, and he also has a chiropractor. So it's truly holistic. And he started asking me some questions that made me approach things very differently. And you are never going to believe what he suggested. That's been a game changer for me. I will just put that in the suspense bracket while we get through the rest of this list.
Dum, dum, dum.
Dum, dum.
Let me ask you a question. Is your holistic doctor covered fully by insurance?
Yes, he is, girlfriend. And it's because he's a real MD. So he is a regular MD, and then he has all these other specialities and other people in his office that do it. But it's, I mean, I feel like, and this is a whole other tangent, but we've really gotten away from this idea of a general practitioner having lots of knowledge in different areas and being able to bring resources in, because everybody operates in a vacuum. And maybe this is because I've had to do this with my kids where they have 30,000 different specialists. And it's like, I'm the only one that has all the knowledge, which just seems wrong because I don't have a medical degree. But just to have someone that's looking at you as a whole person, I feel like we've lost that. And it's a challenge.
I love it. I love just the idea of just having, I feel like the more eyes we have on us, the more people we have in the mix, the healthier we can live.
Yep. Agreed.
So number 5, as one of the things that people don't expect about menopause, is sleep disruptions. And this kind of surprises me because I always figured, with the hot flashes and the night sweats, you're really not going to get good sleep. And honestly, I find I wake up at like 3 a.m. and then I can't go back to sleep. So I go to sleep just fine. I have, good, I don't know, 5 hours sleep. And then my brain wakes up and thinks of every single freaking thing it could possibly think of, good or bad. And yeah, so.
No, 100%.
And this
yeah. This was probably the first one that showed up for me. I was turning into a literal zombie, and maybe I was dense, but it never occurred to me that was menopause, which again, right? Why aren't we educating women about all this stuff and what to look for? Hello. So I finally went to my GP and I'm like, I am turning into a crazy person. I'm getting maybe 3-4 hours of sleep in a night, and I'm an anxious mess. And he was like, well, of course, because I was under a lot of stress at the time, right? And he didn't necessarily connect it to menopause, which I was grateful for because I would have frankly felt kind of dismissed. But he ended up prescribing an anti-anxiety kind of quick release med, and I still take it. And I love it because I take what I feel like I can take. It's really safe. Usually I'll take 1 or 2 tabs. I can't remember what the milligrams are, but because for me, it was the anxiety that was driving it, because I'd wake up and then the anxiety would kick in, and then that would make it 5,000 times worse and I couldn't go back to sleep. So his reasoning, and that seemed to work out for me, was like, if we can get that anxiety piece tapped down, then you'll be able to sleep. And it's not like you wake up and, like you said, just everything under the sun, you just start freaking out about.
Yeah. And I think it all comes like full circle, because like when you're not getting good, this goes back to our mental health. When you're not getting good sleep, there's no way you're going to, be able to maintain good mental health, because you're going to be exhausted and you're going to be worrying about all the things. And
I mean, hello, that's like, there's a reason that lack of sleep is banned by the Geneva Convention in torturing prisoners. It literally makes you that crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know about Google. Number 6, changes in menstrual cycle. Like, is this really a surprise? Menopause?
I know. I saw that.
I don't know.
Was like,
who are they interviewing?
I mean, that's kind of the whole point, I thought. But, that's just me. Whatever.
Okay. Well, and here's the clarification. Women may not anticipate the irregularity of their menstrual cycles, which can become unpredictable well before they stop altogether. And that is true. And that is a freaking pain in the ass.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I was clueless because I was on birth control pills, and I figured magically, I guess, I don't know, maybe menstrual magical thinking, I would just go into menopause naturally, and then we'd rebalance my hormones once that happened, right? Oh no, I kept getting my period, which was redonkulously annoying, like months and months and months. So yeah, it's annoying.
And I don't know, do women our age, you can answer this question, and maybe I would love it if some of our listeners would pipe in. It's like, because my mom didn't live old enough for me to like have this conversation with her, but are we, midlife women, are we having these conversations with our moms about menopause? Like when they went through it, how it was for them, the symptoms they had, stuff like that. What did you talk to Renee about menopause?
Not per se. And that's the other thing. And we'll get to that. But it's like, it just doesn't seem to be, it's not a taboo subject, but I think, to me, when I think about it, it's just kind of this defeatist attitude. Well, it's like, why talk about it? Because it's just horrible and inevitable,
but
right?
Like, what I think it kind of is a taboo topic in that it relates to a period and menstruation,
Agreed.
Which we have all learned is dirty, and we can't talk about it, and it has to do with our sexual health or whatnot. And so it's just like, so I feel 100%. Like maybe menopause is a part of that. So yeah. I just thought of that.
Squirrel. But I remember I was listening to, we love our squirrels. I was listening to public broadcasting. My husband and I listened to NPR sometimes when we were living out in the boonies and our drive was long. But there was this, I kid you not, like medical researcher, and I can't even remember what it was, but they were talking about some aspect of women's health and whatever. And I swear to God, his sentence was something like, well, women with their lady parts, blah, blah, blah. My. And I looked at my husband, I was like, that did not just happen. And he was just like, what did he just say? Like,
unbelievable.
Okay. Cause you're like trying to avoid saying vagina, but you come up with lady parts because that's so much better. Sweet Jesus, for the love.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Right. So yeah, I definitely, I remember the one conversation I had with her was, have you gone into menopause? And the last time I remember having that conversation, she was like, oh no, it's still happening. And I must have been, gosh, probably like in my mid 40s by then. So she was probably, gosh, in her 60s maybe. So I think that it happened fairly late for her, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I could be just conflating that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, number 7, vaginal health issues. So many women are surprised by issues like vaginal dryness and discomfort during intercourse, which can impact their sexual health. And I mean, I feel like this one really sucks the most because here you finally don't have a period, right? If you're an empty nester, your kids
Woohoo!
are gone. You're ready to just like run around naked. And I mean, now your vajayjay's all dry. So not fair. My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women in midlife unapologetically design a life they're in love with. My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and juicy things I have coming up, like my in-person retreat called Exhale in October 2024. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. Number 8 is increased risk of health issues. Yeah, this was a big one for me. The heightened risk of conditions like osteoporosis and heart disease can catch many women off guard.
Yeah, I feel like this one's a little vague though. I mean, like, yeah, I should be taking more calcium for sure. But again, like, the body of research is just so minuscule out there. Like, we have really not even begun to research some of that stuff. And yeah, I have feelings.
Well, you and I will agree to disagree on that one. Positive changes. Okay, I love that this was even on the list because some women are pleasantly surprised to find a sense of freedom and relief from the concerns of menstruation and fertility as they move through menopause, which, yeah, I mean, sure. Like I said earlier, you don't have a period, but I think also like there are other positive things that happen during menopause. And I think we need to start finding those and shining a light on those but in partnership with the other things that go along with menopause.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, for me, again, I just kind of feel like I hit 50 and my give a damn just permanently broke and I just kind of never bothered to fix it. So I don't know, maybe it was menopause and I was just like, yay, okay, this is awesome. And that has been amazing. Like we've talked about that on this show before, just like aging disgracefully, right? Just kind of like, yeah, and moving on.
Yeah. I don't know if that has to do with menopause or I feel like just aging. I feel like once you hit your 40s, you're just, your IDGAFness is out the window.
See prior episodes about aging disgracefully.
Oh yeah, it was a good one. Our most listened to show, correct, Lisa?
Correct. As of this airing.
So, and the number 10, need for support. Oh my gosh, yes. Women often discover the importance of seeking support from friends, family, healthcare providers, as open discussions about menopause can be limited. And yes, we need to talk about this more. Talk with your friends, talk with your healthcare providers, talk with your moms, talk with your daughters. Like, let's make it normal to talk about menopause.
Yes, there you have it, folks. The medical community is literally telling you to listen to Drinks with the Girls, and we are so here for it. But
that's right. You need your sisters.
Yeah. And all joking aside, I mean, we just preach this on this podcast until we're blue in the face about how women need community. And this is just, again, right, one of the many, many, many reasons why women need community. And we need to be having these freaking conversations.
Absolutely. I think it's so important that they're happening and that they're starting to happen because it allows us to feel like we are literally not losing our minds. Like, I don't know, 2 years ago, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was losing my sharpness. I thought I was, just losing my intellect, and that's a sucky feeling. But having all the information out there and feeling like we can talk about it is helping normalize for me and for other women.
Yeah, 100%. I remember feeling so much better once I started talking to other women in my community, because really up until that point, all I knew about, air quotes, normalcy was just the bad jokes about hot flashes, being able to completely incapacitate a woman in 5 seconds. Like if you look at commercials now, right? There's commercials out there and it's just kind of this big joke, right? It's like a punchline. And that's just not cool. I mean, it certainly doesn't encourage women to talk about it because they just feel embarrassed. They just feel like, well, it's already a joke. Why should I take it seriously and talk to people? Maybe I'm just not normal, which is not cool at all.
Right. Absolutely. So I think knowing the potential symptoms and that everyone experiences it differently, and there are things that we can do about it, helps to empower women and help us get a sense of control over what's happening with our bodies. Lord, please don't let us lose any more control over what is happening with our
Hello.
bodies. So, but these surprises bring a mix of challenges, but also opportunities, I think, to prompt us as women to reevaluate our health, and like you did, seek out this holistic doctor and make our wellness a priority because this is a wild phase of life. So, what are some of the resources that have helped you?
Yeah. So I started to talk about this doctor. So here's the crazy part. Y'all are not going to believe this, but I told you I found this holistic doctor and we had this conversation. He said to me, what is the biggest thing that concerns you right now? And I said, my metabolism, my weight gain. I mean, I am so concerned that I won't be able to take this weight off and I'm running out of road. Like I need to make sure that this doesn't impact my joints and all the things, right? And he started talking to me about, drumroll please, Ozempic. I I literally my jaw hit the floor. Like I honestly could not believe it. Like I thought I made some kind of like an awkward joke. I remember saying, "Oh yeah, because Oprah supports her," or some stupid thing like that. And he just looked at me and I was like, "He's not laughing. He's serious, right?" It was one of those awkward kind of moments, right? And I was like, "Wow, okay, well, this is someone I respect that obviously has done the research. I'll hear him out, right?" And honestly, it started making a lot of sense to me. And frankly, the medication I've been taking for years and years that had always worked was doing absolutely nothing. So at that point, I didn't feel like I had anything to lose. And so, he basically said he was extremely skeptical when the meds first came out, like everybody else, right? But that he had been researching it for years and really like doing his due diligence. That's one of the things I love about him. He works so hard for his patients to kind of understand what's going on, right? And especially for his patients with diabetes, which of course it's FDA approved for that, but also those with metabolism issues like mine. And he felt that the good that the drug had been doing was overshadowed by all just the celebrity BS. And I mean, that's all you hear about, right? Like people make fun of it. And also, rightly so, because if this is some celebrity that can afford to buy thousands of dollars worth of it and just like Scott Disick style, throw it in a fridge and just like, you know, pound it like a cocktail. I mean, that's not the reality of a lot of people, right? And so that was the other thing. I was like, there's just no way I can afford this, right? So he had done a lot of homework because that was one of the first things I said. I was like, well, maybe my insurance will cover it. I don't know. Like this may not work. And he said he had done a lot of research and he'd found this compounding pharmacy that was able to work with his patients and offer the medication at a much reduced cost. And I've heard various things about compounding pharmacies, but again, I'm not just randomly searching the internet for this, right? This is under the supervision of my doctor. So I felt relatively good about it, right? And so it was a much reduced cost. So his reasoning, and this really was what kind of stuck with me and really caused me to be like, whoa, let me think about this for a second. He said, the bottom line for me is as a society, if we are going to brutally fat shame people, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Mhm.
given.
Yep.
Now we're going to shame them because they're quote cheating when they're trying to lose weight. What's that about? And that just really stuck with me, right? And it kind of made me look at my own kind of fat phobic kind of issues and what I'd been kind of contributing to that conversation. And I was like, he's right. Like, that's cheating. Like, who cares? Like, people are trying to get healthy. You wouldn't say that. And he goes, Lisa, you have been on this medication for life. You've been told this other medication, you have to take it. What's the difference? And it just really hit me like a ton of bricks and it really changed my perspective. I did a lot of thinking about it and I have been on it. Now I decided to do it and see how it went. I've been on it for, gosh, maybe 2-3 months now. And it has been super effective, not only with the losing weight part, but I remember when Oprah was interviewed, she talked about, because people say, well, what does it feel like. And she said something about the food noise goes away. And I find that that is a big thing with me. Like, I don't eat nearly what I ate before, and it's not so overly important, right? Like, I'm a foodie. Like, I love food, I love cooking, I love all that, but I just seem to be more reasonable and kind of intentional about it now, and it's really, I think, done a good job. So for me, I feel like this has given me a big education about a lot of things, and it's been a really, really interesting ride. So I'm more than happy to be open about it. Please reach out, ask questions, be kind. But yeah, it's a journey, and that has just kind of been part of my process. So I will continue to let everybody know how it goes.
I love you. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea. And I appreciate you being so vulnerable. I really feel like that would be a great another episode to have about, maybe not focus totally on the Ozempic, but I feel like your doctor, that quote, if we're going to shame people for being fat, you can't shame them for using tools to lose weight. Like, that's powerful. And I think, having more conversations like that and making it okay. And I'm sorry, I love my midlife sisters, so I'm always here to bat for them. But it's like when women in midlife are trying to be healthy and trying to make positive changes, it's like shaming them does no good, and it's like, where is that even coming from? Like let people just live their lives, and be
Yeah.
quiet about it.
No, 100%. It has really opened my eyes to a lot of things. But yeah, no, I'm really interested to hear what listeners think, and perhaps others of you have tried it. I would love for people to comment and kind of start that conversation, because that might be a really cool episode for us to tackle.
I have a lot of questions. So yeah, I think we should definitely have an episode. So what if we just looked at this time in our life? And I feel like you're almost there because the way you don't want to associate a lot of symptoms with menopause, right?
Or
So
I could be just firmly stuck in the river of denial, but I
Hey,
choose
whatever.
to look at it positively.
Whatever works for you. But let's look at this time as a positive instead of a negative. Like when you say the word menopause, like you talked about earlier, like the only things that you think of first, the hot flashes, right? And then I literally would think of, like little old ladies shriveling up. Now we're over the hill because our ovaries are all worthless, right?
Yay.
But how can we flip the script, and how can we really look at this as a time when we can just step into our power?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I would love to. I'm sure there's literature about, the ancient goddess cultures, and I'm sure there's something in there about like how the crone, right? I mean, the crone's obviously not meant. Well, I don't either, but what I mean more about that crone is more stage, of an archetypal figure kind of a thing, right? As a seer or a person of wisdom. I'm not calling you a crone. Settle down, Skippy.
No. I just feel like we need something besides maiden. What's the other one?
Maiden, crone. The world wants us to be the covers of a tarot card, like 1000%. I'm not there for that, for sure.
But I think it's time for women to take control of their bodies, and it's time to speak up, because most medical doctors are not going to have menopause on their radar. I just got a new doctor. We've lived here almost 3 years, and I haven't had a doctor. I haven't seen a regular doctor in probably like 8 years. But so I just got a new doctor, and I specifically asked him how trained he was in menopause, because I'm in the thick of it, and I don't want him dismissing what I'm telling him. I don't, not that I want to have everything blamed on menopause, but I want it to be part of the conversation.
It's at least a valid. I feel like if people are going to be general practitioners and they're going to treat women of our age and beyond, at the bare minimum, they need to be up on the latest research for that, just like they would for any other issue, right? Like if we were talking about, I don't know, just an increase in skin cancer rates, right? For that age group, like we would hope that they would be up on that. And so, I mean, I think you're right, just in terms of that taboo kind of locked away type of a thing. We need to start talking about that. And we need to hold our medical providers responsible, and we need to let them know that, we'd like answers about that. And
Yeah. I think we're better than like our parents' generations in terms of like looking at doctors as almighty, all knowing, not questioning. So we are better, but I don't still think we're that great. Or at least I'm just speaking for myself. I only in the past few years have I gotten better at, advocating for myself medically. But I had an awesome OBGYN who just retired, sadly, and I didn't have to advocate because she was advocating for me. So I'm trying to find another one of her.
Yeah. And I think that we have to keep asking the questions, right? Because it's squeaky wheel and dollars. I mean,
sure.
let's get real. That's what funds the research. So if we keep asking the questions, it's going to push society to come up with the answers. I mean, I didn't know anything about like hormone replacement therapy. That was for like wackos, right? Like 5-10 years ago, you were like, what? She's like getting dosed with hormones? Like, is she like some crazy lady that's in a straitjacket? Right? Like it had this total stigma. And now people are much more likely to talk about it. There's all sorts of research that's coming out just about hormones in general. I don't want to share too much about my husband's journey because that's his to share, but there's stuff going on with men and hormones. It's and women and testosterone, right? Like without getting to the whole, like the Olympics are going on right now. And there's all sorts of controversy on that, but women have testosterone in their bodies and it can also be deficient. Same with men. So there's a whole new, I feel like, branch of science that isn't just like endocrinology that's springing up. And I'm here for it because I think there's a lot of research to be done.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Fabulous Drinks with the Girls listeners. Guess what? We have something exciting happening here at Drinks with the Girls. We have a way for you, our listeners, to be involved. You can be part of our Drinks with the Girls Pod Squad support team. Creating a sisterhood of empowered women is our goal, and we are so grateful you are here.
You can help us get the word out about Drinks with the Girls because we want all women to feel the support of a powerful community behind them. Here's what you need to do. Get in touch with one of us via email and let us know you want to be an official part of the Drinks with the Girls Pod Squad. Go to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe or follow Drinks with the Girls if you haven't already. Every month, we need you to share.
Share with a girlfriend via text, share to your email newsletter, share on your socials, share from the rooftops. The more you share, the more chances you have to win fabulous prizes at the end of every month. Simply send us a screenshot every time you share. Every share is a chance to win, so the more you share, the more chances you have to win each month.
Here are some of the awesome prizes available. A coupon code for $100 off a 4-month coaching package with Karen. A discount coupon towards your favorite Arbonne health and wellness products with Lisa. A spot on the podcast. A 60-minute goal setting session with Karen. A 30-minute prep session for your child's upcoming IEP meeting with Lisa. 30-day midlife self-care journal PDF. And the list goes on.
We are so excited to have you as part of the Drinks with the Girls Pod Squad support team. And we are excited to see who wins each month because after all, we're all in this together. Cheers.
Cheers.
So in therapy and in coaching, the reframe is a powerful tool. And what if we just reframed hot flashes? Like, let's use that heat to fire up our lives.
Sizzle.
So we want to hear from you, our listeners. We want to know what your experience is with menopause, perimenopause, where you are on the journey. And we want to leave you some resources so you have places to get info if you have questions, if you haven't even started talking about perimenopause or menopause, or if you just want more support. So, and literally, if I wasn't on Instagram so damn much for my business, I would not know half the things I know now about menopause. Social media, I mean, it's a love-hate situation, but it has really helped me get educated and find the voices that I want to listen to and get support from.
I think we really just need to attribute this to the hot guys at the Drinks with the Girls research department. You're not on social media too much. It's just something we asked our research department to come up with, right? How's that for a reframe? Is that what you're talking about there? Or am I off?
That's a fib.
So
I wish we had hot guys on our research team. No, just kidding. Not kidding. So some of the resources that I have leaned on recently, Mary Claire Haver, she has like 1.8 million followers on Instagram. She's an OBGYN, and I have her first book, which I hate the title. It's called The Galveston Diet because it just falls right into the diet culture BS. But it's not a diet. It is literally how to eat for your changing body. More protein, more fiber. She talks about intermittent fasting. stuff like that. So it's been an eye opener for me. And I always listen to what she has to say.
That's
She has a
cool.
new book out called The New Menopause, which I have not read. So I don't know about that, but I'm sure it's good. I also have,
hang
go
on.
ahead. Yes.
Pause. I
Yes.
was just going to say, and this is a good time to insert this now. We are thinking about doing a book club kind of thing on this podcast. Karen suggested, I think it's a great idea. So we'd love to hear what you think. Maybe some of these might be on the list. So the idea would be that we would announce a book that we were going to read and give everybody like a month or 6 weeks. And then we do a podcast on that. So tell us if you think that's a cool idea, because when Karen suggested it to me, I thought it was really super. So it just popped into my head when we're talking about these resources. So again, I'm sorry I interrupted. You were talking about her new book.
No, that was a good interruption, because I love that idea. And I think that the more ways that we can connect with you, our listeners, the better, because that's what Drinks with the Girls is all about. It's just like we're sitting around the living room, shooting the shit, having our cocktail or not. But another book that is on my bedside table right now is The Menopause Manifesto by Dr. Jen Gunter. And I like her. She's really sassy. So I like her style. But same thing, just really educating women on the ins and the outs of menopause. So you've talked about your medical journey and how that has impacted. Have you done anything else, or has that been the main change you've made that has really impacted your health and wellness?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so, because I just felt like I had to get a handle on a lot of this stuff. I mean, part of it has been just the whole crazy making of years and years and years of telling doctors, oh, I think there's something going on with my thyroid. I think there's this, I think there's that. And then really, it was only now that I kind of got some affirmation about that. So for me, that's kind of opened up this whole new world, right? And so for me, I'm focused on the weight gain piece of it and the metabolism piece, because that affects so many of the other things. Like, we're working on my thyroid. We decided we were going to go with some natural supplements just because we knew that this was going to be a big change for me. But to me, this is kind of like the gateway to see how I'm going to be with my body and kind of what my body needs at this point. And so I really put kind of all my eggs in this basket, to have a bizarre metaphor, because I feel like it's going to be super impactful. And then when I feel like we need to talk about tapering off or some kind of something else, then I'm going to start looking at some other ways to do it. But for me, that has been really kind of the number one thing.
And I think too, like, how validating, and I feel like when any person is like, has any kind of a health issue or whatever, and they just are constantly just feeling like, nope, this isn't it. And then to find that thing that's it, like, that is, like you said earlier, a game changer. And I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, again, story for another podcast, but it's been an interesting journey to learn just how much insurance companies affect the kind of care that you get.
Ugh.
And I mean, we can open that kettle. If you are a minority or a woman of color, that's a whole other show. So we'll put a pin in that one too.
Yeah. So I've done a few things just for myself with my menopause and trying to just deal with the symptoms. I have tried intermittent fasting and counting my macros, which I can't do that anymore. It's like I just don't got time for that.
It's so hard.
But oh God, I do focus on more protein and more fiber in my diet. And honestly, I do like the intermittent fasting. If I could just keep him from bringing like the licorice and the sweets and the stuff to the couch at night when we're watching TV,
that's hard.
binging our shows. Oh my gosh. But I've also tried to really consciously love my body. And this is a struggle, which I'm sure 99% of women out there, 100 get it. And it really, for me, this really came home when my son got married last summer and I was trying to find a wedding dress and I just did not feel good in anything. And so at that moment, I made the decision to love my body, my 55-year-old body, the wrinkles and the sags and the this and the that and the dimples and the pouch and all that, while still trying to be healthy, eat healthy, exercise, whatnot. But
now, y'all, she's saying this, but I've seen the pictures from this wedding, which was in Italy. Thank you very much. And she looks stunning pictures, stunningly beautiful. So I tend to think that had less to do with the dress and more to do with how happy she was. But that's just me.
Well, I mean, and it just goes to show you that I think no matter what you look like or what is going on the outside, what's going on the inside, that's what you have to kind of get a handle on. And that's where I was. But thank you for saying that. It was a glorious day. But and the other thing I do before we wrap this up is I consciously prioritize my sleep and my rest. I don't give myself shit for wanting to sleep in a little bit or wanting to take a little snooze in the middle of the day, although I don't really do that. That's a lie.
Well, and I will tell you, that's one of the big things I learned from that first provider about how important, especially as we get older as women, sleep is, and how we need to prioritize it more, not less. So that might be something we want to talk a little bit more about. But I too have tried to work on that because, and again, like this is a whole other thing, but for me, like I can go and go and go and go and go in terms of working on stuff when I've got projects, and sleep goes out the window. And it was to the point where I was like, well, I can't sleep. I might as well work. Right. And she really was the one that was like, you got to stop that, because that's the brain fog. That's a lot of that stuff. And if you are not well rested, you're not giving your body a chance to sort all this stuff out and repair itself at night. And that can lead to so many things, from just skin conditions to mental health to just like eating habits, all of it. So that's a good reminder for me, because I have tried to get more sleep. I mean, honestly, I function much better if I have at least 8 hours. Sometimes that's hard. I mean, honestly, 9 is probably better. I just find that that's really tough to do. But I think that the Europeans have it right. I mean, a siesta, again, my theory about everybody's just sleep deprived, which is why there's wars. But
for sure. Yes. Everybody just take a nap.
Yeah, I'm just saying. No, for sure. So one last thing before we close. Y'all might have noticed that this episode is a little longer, like a lot longer than our other episodes. And so, we've been doing these episodes where we're like, part 1, part 2. Oh, we ran over. Oh, and then we put in some little thing at the end like, oh, sorry, we ran over. And then Karen finally was like, Lisa, this is really stupid. Clearly, the episodes are as long as they need to be. And if that is the time that we need to discuss a subject, why are we arbitrarily trying to shove them into half-hour increments? And I realized
that's not what I said.
Well, okay. She didn't say it mean like that. She always says some great stuff. No, absolutely. But I think that was the voice in my head, is I was just like, that's so true. Like, why am I doing this?
To our defense, I think what we were thinking is we were trying to make it easy for you guys to listen. We were trying to make 20, 30-minute episodes. But you know what? Just like when you get together with your girlfriends, there is no way you're only going to have a 30-minute conversation. I'm sorry, because we go deep, we go wide, and that's just how it is.
So, if you were fitting us in that 30-minute increment lunch or commute or whatever that was, your workout, just put us on pause and finish the rest of the episode later. So, and who knows, they might not be as long as this one, but we just decided it was kind of silly that we're doing it. So again, lifelong learners, we're certainly not the experts in podcasting. That's a whole other topic. So thank you so much for spending some time with us, lovelies. We hope you have a lovely day. And we will see you next time on Drinks with the Girls. So cheers, babies.
Cheers.